Check one, check two, audio. All right, here we go. I'm starting a YouTube channel because I really have a passion for helping songwriters specifically. I get passionate about helping people with songwriting stuff, and over years of doing it, I feel like I've gained enough experience to where I can talk about it with some level of expertise. So the main focus of this YouTube channel is going to be acting almost as if it's like a gym for songwriters. It's going to be something that challenges songwriters weekly. It's going to be something that gives resources to songwriters, advice from somebody who does production as well as songwriting. Now, since this is technically going to be an advice-based channel, I figured it was only fair for me to say up front what my standards are for advice-based content. I have a lot of plans for Velvet Year over the course of this next year. I have, of course, this YouTube channel. I have plans to start a podcast. I have plans for new music that I'm going to be releasing, and I'm really passionate about working with new artists this year, which is something that I've always wanted to do full time. So a ton of stuff that I'm happy is finally coming out. I really want to clarify what my standards are for advice. My first standard is I don't talk about anything that I don't have experience in. This is the hardest one for a lot of people in an attempt to sound like you know what you're talking about or to appear more experienced than you are. They tend to give misleading advice in an attempt to be the person giving advice and seem like they know what they're doing. So on this channel, you won't hear me give any advice about how to make $10,000 from selling merch because I haven't done that. It's really tempting when you're doing advice-based content to sound like you know what you're doing at all costs. I'm going to be very upfront about the fact that I don't know everything, that I'm still learning, and that I'm going to be sharing from stuff that I have experience with. I feel like the opposite of that would be to take this content that I'm not sure is true or works because I haven't experienced it myself and just share as much of it as possible. But then the adverse effect of that would be that people could try it and it could harm them. I'm only going to be sharing advice from stuff that I have experience in, or I will be bringing in other people who have experience in that field. Number two, I want to cite my sources. I feel like in the age of the internet, it's super easy to like plagiarize your sources and like not say where you get advice from. But I really think it's important to bring in outside information so that you don't become one-sided. I don't want this channel to become how to write songs like Seth. So I'm going to be active in trying to bring in sources that could help everyone. Because the adverse effect is that everything you do sounds the same and comes from this very specific point of view, and you don't widen your ability to write songs outside of that because you're writing from this one spot. So I'm going to be quoting books, musicians, and podcasters. I really want this to be a place where people broaden their horizons creatively. Three, I want to be careful with stating what is opinion and what is fact. There are going to be a lot of opinions on this channel, and I want to be very clear about what those opinions are. For example, if you want to, I don't know, make money as a musician, you need to make music. That's not an opinion, that's just a fact. However, certain ways of going about making money as a musician, there are lots of different ways, an infinite amount of ways. I'm going to be very vocal about the ways that I think people should go about it, but at the same time, I'm going to be understanding that the way I think it could be may not be the only way. I don't want to risk someone taking my opinion and perceiving it as being a fact when it's not, and harming their career or their songwriting ability through this misconception that, oh, well, Seth said this, therefore it must be a fact. No, this is just an opinion. And four, I want to provide examples. I want to provide actual examples for how to do the things that I'm going to be talking about on this channel. I have a video in the future where I talk about the block method and the Pomodoro technique for productivity when you're songwriting, and I want to give actual examples. My philosophy is the same as a gym. I'm not just going to give you a video of a workout and hope that you do it right. When you do a workout incorrectly, with incorrect form, incorrect posture, or you're doing it without guidance, there's a danger of you hurting yourself. And so I want to give actual examples for the things that I'm talking about. So recap: 1, I don't want to talk about stuff that I don't know. 2, I want to cite sources other than myself. 3, I want to be clear about what's my opinion and what is fact. And 4, I want to provide actual examples for the things that I talk about. My plan is to have weekly videos like this. That weekly schedule is not going to happen until after the summer ends, technically. For a lot of people, it's already ended, not for me. Now we're gonna get to the end of the videos. I want to include some tools at the end of every one of these videos that help people with their songwriting skills. One of them is the songwriting challenge. The songwriting challenge is going to be a weekly thing that I put at the end of one of the videos where I will give you a prompt to write a song with. And the goal is that by the time my next video comes out, you will have written a song from that prompt. This is something to kind of flex the muscles as far as songwriting goes. The first songwriting prompt that I have is... I need to read it off my phone. I can't even read my Google Notes. The first songwriting challenge is to write a song based off of the first chapter of any science fiction book. You can choose any science fiction book you want, but it has to be based off of the first chapter, the beginning of the story. It can't be based off the end. If you're writing a book about Star Wars, you can't start with Luke and be like, oh, he's gonna be great. No, he's lame. He's on the sand desert thing. He's lame. I'm gonna be following these challenges too. I'm gonna be challenged with this as well because part of this challenge is I'm gonna have to write a song a week. And this is probably going to be my favorite part of every video, record time. I didn't get the record. It's out of my backdrop. I don't know what to do. Record time is going to be a segment every week where I suggest an album, but this is going to be like a prescribed listening so that you can open your palette to different genres of music that maybe you don't listen to. Since this is my first YouTube video, I figured it was only fitting to show my first album. This is Homesick by A Day to Remember. It's a pop punk band. The vinyl is yellow. Look at that. $30. Never buy vinyl from Hot Topic. These guys recently did a song with Marshmello, and for a lot of people that was their first time discovering them, but these guys have actually been around for a long time. They've won gold records. This album is kind of a mixture of that pop punk Warped Tour sound, but also a mixture of metalcore and acoustic pop. It's a good look into making an album that is widely different genres, song to song, but still keeping a cohesive theme. Every time I do a record time, I'm gonna recommend 3 songs off the album itself. The first one I'm gonna recommend is If It Means a Lot to You. This is an acoustic pop song. Second song I'd recommend is Have Faith in Me. And the third song I'd recommend is NJ Legion Ice-T. I don't know if it's New Jersey, but it's NJ. I'm hoping that the excitement that I have right now for what I'm about to start doing starts to rub off on some of you. So yeah, first video done. Now go make something cool.